name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Afternoon Drive Home and The Edge with Donna and Kathy. We are actually at the Alabama State Capitol right now with one of my favorite guys right here. This is our Honorable Alabama Secretary of State, John Merrill. John, so good to be with you again
Great
today.
to be with you, my friend. I'm so glad y'all can come to the Capitol today.
We are too. Thanks for letting us come in.
Oh, look, we're delighted to have y'all and for you to be able to broadcast from this location. Not a lot of people have had the opportunity to do this, and anytime we've had some of our media partners reach out and want to, we certainly want to accommodate them because this is your capital.
Well, thank you, because we're on several different television stations now. We've really branched out. We're on channel 182 on Charter Communications, Abundant TV, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire, and in Australia.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, my goodness.
So we're everywhere now, not just in Alabama, all over the United States and even out of the United States.
That's great.
So it's good.
I just wanted to mention, John, that you've been an absolute fantastic Alabama Secretary of State. And so many great things have happened. And I wanted to mention this, Kathy. I mentioned this to you on the way to Montgomery. A lot of other state governors have actually called on you to find out how you did such a good job with the election.
Well, you're kind to mention that. As a matter of fact, one of those folks that I speak to regularly, his birthday is today. That's Brian Kemp, who's the governor of Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
I spoke to Governor Kemp this morning bright and early because he starts his day about 5 a.m. every morning, but he is an outstanding leader and doing a tremendous job over there.
And this show, actually, Mr. Merrill, it may air before the election, and then actually sometimes we air some of these popular shows after the election as well. Okay, so we'll wish him a happy birthday, and then he'll actually get a late happy birthday as well.
Yes, absolutely, because we want him to get the late happy birthday on November the 8th
That's
when he gets reelected to one more term as Georgia's governor.
Absolutely.
And now, is this your last term?
Yes,
correct?
and my last day in office will be January the 15th. So you're limited by law to only 2 terms, consecutive elected terms in the position. And I am fast approaching the end of my 2nd term. So it's an exciting time. It's also a sad time because I love the job and we've been able to do so much good for so many people all around the state. But, you know, it's time for another person to come and take the reins here. And so we'll be moving on to other opportunities.
Absolutely. Well, you've really been boots on the ground. You visited every county multiple times.
That's right.
We've appreciated you coming to North Alabama.
Thank you for that. You know, actually, I was talking to somebody about that this morning. This is the 11th time, the 10th year in a row that I will have been to all 67 counties. And as of today, I've been to 62 of the 67 counties for 421 unique visits to those 62 counties, and we will get the rest of them between now and December 31st, but we are always excited whenever we have the opportunity to go to those local counties and to interact with those folks that live in those communities and make sure we're helping them meet their needs. You know, it's funny because there's benefits to doing that. A lot of different times, sometimes people may not think of something like this, but this morning as I was returning from Gadsden, I got a call from my assistant and she said, you need to do an interview with a TV station in Huntsville and you really need to do it before you get back here. They can't wait. Their deadline is too early. And I said, well, when is it going to be? And she said, well, I'll find out, but I'll reach back to you. And I said, well, whenever you call me, I'll have a place where I can pull off the road and then I can do the interview. And when she called, I knew that there was a place within that particular location where I could pull off, and it was a funeral home in Shelby County. So I went there. It's a nice background. You know, it looked all professional, and so it was good. So not every elected official can do that.
Right. And then hasn't it been wonderful with Zoom now?
Oh, yes.
You can pull over on the side of the road and do it.
You can, even though I prefer to do it in person whenever I can, if I'm meeting or doing an interview, just like with y'all being here, as opposed to us trying to do this through the internet, which you know, it has benefits, but that's not the
It's had
best.
glitches, hasn't
That's
it?
right. That's
Right.
right.
We've been through a few glitches together with the internet. You know, I wanted to also mention one of your fans up in DeKalb County is Bobby Ledbetter with Twin City Used
I
Car
love
Sales.
Bobby Ledbetter.
I told Bobby that we were going to be here with you, and he said, make sure we told you hello from him. And you've been so kind to come to all these food events he has put through the past few years.
Well, you are so kind to mention that, but my involvement is directly because of you and because of you taking time to make sure that we knew about it and we had it on our calendar so we could be there and support the event, and to be able to go and to interact with all those families that would come and get those turkeys and those groceries, and just let them know how much they're appreciated and what an integral part of the community that they need to be, let alone just being a resident. They need to know that they have something to offer. And Bobby is so kind to treat everybody the same way and to make sure that they all know that they're loved.
Absolutely. You know, you and I could be Walmart greeters because we seem to be the greeters.
That's right.
At every one of those
That's right.
events.
You're the greeter. I just interact with them and talk to them about our work in our office and the things we're
So that'll be
doing.
our next
Donna
meeting.
goes to every car and she welcomes them. She tells them what they're doing, where they need to go.
And John will go,
She's
"Hurry up."
running the show, so it's good.
Okay, so I have to ask a question, Mr. Merrill. I'm excited. This is a conclusion to your service right now as Secretary of State. What do you foresee the future holding?
Well,
Can I get a little glimpse
yes,
of that for
I
everybody?
have had a number of people talk to me about the possibility of working with them and helping them with their particular area, some in education, some in public service, some in state government, some at the federal level, some in the private sector. And so there's a number of things that we're making sure that we're fully vetting and evaluating. So we'll take the best opportunity that we have for our family to make sure that we're where we need to be.
Right.
And at that point, then there'll be a public announcement. But, you know, we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to be the best and most impactful we can possibly be now and in the future.
Yes. And our state has just been, oh my, I mean, I'm just proud to be an Alabama citizen.
Well, you know, we live in the best state
Yes.
in the union, and a lot of people, they don't believe that, but if they ever spend any time here, they would know.
Oh, they would
Yes.
We don't have people that come here and then leave.
Right.
We have people that come here and stay. We wish some of them would leave, but I'm just saying that's just the way it is.
I dig it. I'd say what you're saying. there.
Well, our economy has done so well.
Yes.
And we've got a lot of states that have not done so
That's
well.
exactly right. And Governor Ivey's leadership has been extraordinarily strong to help us be where we need to be as we continue to move forward.
Yes.
Now, Kathy, you know Merrill, Matthews, and Allen. That's not like
From
I'm in contact.
Anniston.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're one of my clients.
Because I live in Calhoun
Yeah.
County.
Yes.
Oh, next door
Absolutely.
to Doug.
And it was so fun because I got to call Mr. Merrill and I
Yeah.
said, I would really love to have an interview with John Merrill. This back when you first started running
Right.
for office. And so next thing I'm talking to you, so that was pretty neat. But he's a man of integrity, and
Well,
as well as you.
Thank you so much. And our family's roots are deeply embedded in Calhoun and Cleveland counties where I'm from. And my uncle was the chief of police in Oxford for 30 years, in
Right.
addition to the attorneys that she's talking about. And we have been blessed by having the support of so many families in that part of the state over the years. So y'all are kind to mention that.
Well, in Calhoun and Cleveland, you know, we're really close. They're our back door. So.
That's right.
And Donna was from Oxford. Now she moved away and moved to Geraldine.
Right.
I've still been in White Plains and Calhoun County now all these years. But
And my mom used to
She's
teach in
from-
White Plains.
Yes,
Yes, she was a teacher there when she first got started, and then she went to Ranburn, and then she went to Heflin, and she was there for 28 years, so 30 years total in public education.
right. My daughter knew about her actually because she's a teacher. She's a fax teacher at White Plains.
That's great.
Yes, sir. So we have a love for education, and I'm an old nurse, and my oldest daughter's a nurse as well as doing some TV on and off
Right.
over the years.
Right.
Just fell back into this with Donna.
Well,
so
that's
I'm
great.
glad to be here with you
Well,
and helping our state.
Thank
and I
you.
want you to continue to do that
Thank
because we have really flourished.
I appreciate that so
Yeah.
very much. You're very kind to say that. It's been a real thrill for me to be able to serve in this role.
And serve is true. You have been a servant. There are people that come into an elected position, and then there are some people who just serve, and that's what you've been doing.
Thank you for that.
And I wanted to mention that awesome wife of yours, Cindy. That is definitely, I love her. She's been to several events with us as well.
She has, and today she was working up in Winston County in Lynn, Alabama, at Lynn Elementary School, and she was at Double Springs earlier in the week, and her job as a retired educator now has her working in the Department of Early Childhood Education. So she's still trying to help those
She's
young
out there
families and
working
those
that.
young children that are trying to improve their educational foundation and their overall quality of life.
Well, I know she had to be elated with the study that we are like on top when it came to the test scores
That's right.
through the COVID
That's right.
situation.
That's right.
Is that right?
That's right, and that's very, very positive for our state. We always want to build on that foundation because the future of our state relies on how strong the educational system is and what we're able to do for our young people.
That's right.
Absolutely.
The
We're in
roots.
farming country too. Our farmers love you as well.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you. We've had a lot of support from the Farmers Federation and the people who are farmers that are not necessarily active members of the Farmers Federation, but I think that's because I grew up in a farming community, not on the farm. I spent a lot of time on the farm where my mama and papa lived, but now we have the farm, and it's a real treasure for us and our family.
Right, because the Alabama Farmers Federation is a big backbone of our state.
That is exactly right.
Yes, and I mean, if you don't know how to actually become a member, anybody can become a member of the Farmers Federation.
That's right.
You can go to your local alpha office
That's right.
and join. It's that easy.
Yeah, and we encourage people to do that because
Yes.
they have a strong voice for conservative government in our state, and they always make their position well known. And we want people to support that position
Right.
because
That's
that
right.
position is for moving Alabama forward always.
Yes. Is there anything that you would like to share with us about maybe a specific experience that happened in your time of service that stands out?
Well, I think
Coming to Fort Payne, Alabama.
that's probably one of the biggest things that has happened that really changed the future of our state was back in our first term when we were able to change our laws to have the SEC primary. So Alabama would move up in the selection sequence for Democrat and Republican nominees for the presidency. And that change actually brought more than a dozen Republicans and Democrats to our state campaigning for the presidency. And that was the most ever in the history of our state. So to have been a part of that and to have made that happen really means a great deal to me personally. It meant a lot to our people. And we want our people to have their voice heard when it comes to that selection process. So as an event or an activity, that was probably key for us in remembering that. As far as accomplishments are concerned, the fact that we've broken every record in the history of the state for voter participation, election after election.
That's right.
And Tuesday, November the 8th will be the 46th election that we've administered since I've been in this role. But breaking records for voter registration, as of today, with 2,170,381 new voters in the state, and a state record 3,689,325 registered voters in the state of Alabama is phenomenal. So
Well, it's been about voter education as well. And I know you've put quite a few things out there for all of the citizens.
absolutely, we have worked really hard to make sure that people know that we want them to participate and we want them to have their voice heard.
And it definitely is. And you also have a magazine you hand out, which
That's
is
right.
very helpful. Let's
That's
talk
right.
about that for a few
Yes, our annual report is something that we produce to remind people of the accomplishments that we produced in the previous year and to make sure that they know what this office is all about. One of the things that we discovered after I became Alabama's 53rd secretary, which was 7 years and 9 months and 15 days ago was that there weren't
In
a
20 seconds.
whole lot of people that really understood what this position was about or what
Right.
it did, even though it's the oldest office in the history of the state. So we worked really hard to educate people, and that's part of what we did in our visits to each county when I would be speaking to Rotary clubs or Civitan clubs or Lions clubs or even JCs or all of those different groups to make sure that they understood why this office is important and what it means to business in Alabama as well as in elections.
Right.
And also during the census, when that was being taken, you were really active in that as well.
We were, because it's so important to our state to preserve the number of elected officials that we have at the congressional level so we can get the benefit that we need, having those people there, receiving that federal funding for education, for roads and bridges, infrastructure improvements, to make sure that Alabama continues to move forward in all of those areas.
And that's why it's so important for you young people to go register to vote, correct?
Absolutely.
Because that's a counting head, just like the census is,
That's right.
correct?
That's right. And if they are within 6 months of an election, they can register early and not have to go on their birthday. That way, they will be registered voters when that time comes. And that enables us to make it easier for them. And our singular goal in election administration, voter registration, is to make it easy to vote and hard to cheat in Alabama.
Right, and you know what, I can say our system, y'all, is, you just don't know how good Alabama is. My son attends college out of state in
Yes.
Tennessee. He had to vote, right? He said, Mom, I'm not gonna vote. No, you're gonna vote.
Right.
So he actually did exactly what he said. It was like that, he said. It was so simple,
That's great.
so easy. He felt secure. He felt like his vote was counted.
Right.
And that is what's important in
You know,
it.
we have one of the longest periods of time before the election to be prepared to vote, actually 55 days. And I voted 50 days before the election. So
Right.
my vote has been in the safe waiting to be counted for almost 2 months.
What about that?
That's right.
Isn't that
John,
good?
I feel good
That's
about
good.
young people. And my grandmother always worked the polls.
Yes.
And so I took the torch and decided to do it this time.
Yes.
And I had a great, great time. But I noticed the excitement of young people when they were coming in to vote. And I saw a lot of kids coming in with their parents. It made me feel really, really good about the future.
That's very important. And one of the things that we've done since I've been the secretary is to pass legislation that has enabled young people who are 16 or 17 to be able to work the polls and to be able to do everything that a seasoned poll worker can do except for handle the ballot. So that has been very well received. I actually spoke to Judge Hassel today in Etowah County when I was visiting him there in Gadsden, and he told me he had to turn some young people away. So that means that he has more than 60 young people that are already scheduled to work the election.
wonderful.
That's
in
great
Orlando.
news.
That's great because, some days you think, oh, I'm really worried about our young people. What is society coming to?
Work at the
And
polls,
it's
you
those
feel that
things,
way.
those small things, like you
right.
starting that can involve the children. And guess what? Then it involves the parents.
That's right.
And then the future generations. And then they get involved, and maybe they'll be a politician
That's right.
down the road.
That's right.
Because what you people out there don't realize is even though you're a great politician, he's also a special, just a person, a husband, a dad, a real person. And that's what a lot of people, they think, oh, I'm scared to talk to them. They're real, aren't
That's
we?
exactly right.
You're real.
That's right. And
You know?
so there should not ever be any kind of intimidation factor. And if they ever met me, they wouldn't be intimidated.
Well, I mean,
we just
today is the first day I have
Right.
met you
Right.
personally, and I just feel at home.
thank you.
And that's the way we want our children to feel. People that come into our homes, Donna's home, they'll come to her farm,
Right.
Let's talk automation. Because, elections have really changed since my
Yes.
grandmother actually
Yes.
worked the polls. She said they could not go home. Everything had to be done by hand. And there would be like past midnight some days
Right.
before they would get home. So let's talk about that.
Well, we're very fortunate to have the best equipment that's available in election administration. And We do not have any systems connected to the internet, so people can rest easy about that. All of our machines have been constructed since I've been the secretary, and they were all custom built without modems, so you can't transfer data electronically.
Wow.
But it starts with a check-in procedure when you go in and you show your ID and they scan it and then they check you in. We know you're who you say you are, and you would be locked out of other equipment, so you can't go somewhere else and attempt to vote in person. And then after you vote, then you get ready to turn your ballot into the tabulator, or the voting machine as people would call it. When it's inserted and received and the scan occurs, it registers the vote. And then at that point, you are secure in knowing that your vote has counted for the candidate of your choice. And for the amendments, and we'll have 10 of those this time, will be registered for your position on those issues. And that will enable you to be able to rest comfortably in knowing that all the people that voted that day will have their voice heard and their vote counted in a secure way.
Let's talk amendments, the most confusing thing on the ballot. How can we get some good information about what they're about?
Great question. One of the things that we encourage people to do is to visit our website at alabamavotes.gov and visit the Fair Ballot Commission pull down so they can check out the language that's been prepared by this group of individuals, and they have written this language in such a way that anybody can understand it, because we don't want it to be a confusing time when you go to the polls. We want it to be an informed time where your reasoned vote will be cast. And this process with the Fair Ballot Commission has a brief paragraph that's written on each one of the amendments, so you know that this is what it actually means and what it will mean if it passes. And that's been very successful. That legislation has passed since we've been in this position, and that enables people to be ready to process the information and cast their vote on that issue in an informed way.
You know, more and more people are getting out there and they would like to be part of a solution. So let's talk with folks who are thinking about running next time around. What do they need to do to prepare to run for office?
Well, the main thing that people need to do when they're getting ready to run for office is to make sure that they're informed about the things that are going on in their community. And the only way to do that is by being involved in your community. And if they make that commitment, then they will be recognized as a natural candidate for public office. Then they need to assemble their friends and come up with a plan about how they would like to move forward in a campaign for city council, for county commission, for the school board, for the legislature, for Congress, for a statewide office. And when they do those things and they're fully prepared, they'll be better prepared to be successful.
And you've always listened to the heart of the people. And I've noticed when you come to the Cattle Stampede Steakhouse, is where you've spoken a lot in Fort Payne, Alabama. But I've noticed you when you're up there on the stage, people are asking questions, you look them in the eye, and right, the eyes always meet. And that's important, right?
Well, I try to make sure that people know that when they have questions, we want them answered to their satisfaction. That's whether they send an email here, they have a telephone call here, whether I'm interacting with them face to face, because we want them to feel as though they've got a direct contact to their secretary and their secretary's team. That's why on my business card, I print my cell phone number. And then anytime I speak, even when I'm doing interviews, I'll make sure that people know they can call 334-328-2787, which is my cell phone. And then they can call me directly if they have a question or a concern about a particular issue.
We're ready to close, and I wanted to talk to you just for a little bit over 5 minutes left in this segment. What are you going to miss most about not being Alabama Secretary of State?
Well, I think the biggest thing is being able to help individuals and to help families as they have issues that are introduced to them and they don't know where to go. I get calls all the time. I got a call this morning from a district attorney in the state that was checking on an issue that I had introduced to him about a week and a half ago, and he was concerned that he'd not heard from that family. And I reached out to that family and reminded them, you need to make sure you follow up with the DA, and then sent him a message back and said, look, Not everybody would have done that to have followed up, but for me to be able to refer people, to have a personal relationship with people so they know that their problem is going to be solved, their issue is going to be addressed, means a lot to me, because I want everybody to have as high quality of life as they can have.
Yeah, and it's important that you care. They know you're for real.
I believe that,
You know?
yes ma'am.
Yeah, yeah. it's good.
Okay, a couple minutes left, so let's talk with the folks about voting this coming. You must, okay? Or we're gonna go to your house, we're gonna eat all of your food. So why is it so important?
Well,
to get
of
out
course,
there?
the date to register to vote has passed.
Right,
And
right.
you cannot modify your record now, but you should be informed about where your polling place is. So visit our website at alabamavotes.gov, download the mobile app and Vote for Alabama. See where you're supposed to vote, what the races are that are going to be on your ballot, and then go to the polls prepared with your photo ID. When you check in, receive your ballot, mark your ballot for the candidates of your choice, for the issues that are presented to you as constitutional amendments, which ones that you favor, which ones you're opposed to. Submit that ballot by turning it in to the tabulator and then letting it count for the candidates of your choice and the issues that are important to you. And then you will have done your civic duty. And it's real easy to find where you're supposed to vote when you visit those sites. All 1,980 polling sites will be welcoming you on election day.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 1 minute left. What do you want to tell everybody in the state of Alabama and everywhere else before we leave?
Well, I just want to thank you for the privilege that I've had to be able to serve the people of Alabama, and to thank these two fine ladies for coming to Montgomery today to keep you informed about issues that are so very important to you, and to let you know what we're doing here so you can be better informed about your state capital.
Absolutely. John, thank you so much.
Thank you, Donna.
It's always
Thank you so
Good to see
much.
you.
It was nice
Thank you.
meeting
My
you.
pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
You stay tuned. We'll be back next with another awesome guest. We're about to make your life just a little bit easier. Join Tony and April at Tony's Pizza and Subs in Center and Cedar Bluff, Alabama. We're cooking up some hot, delicious pizzas, and we'd like to bake one for you. We are home-owned, not a chain, and our pizzas are fresh, homemade with our dough made fresh daily. We have a full menu including fresh, never frozen wings, salad bars, suds sandwiches, and much more. In Center, we have a private dining area for birthday parties, club meetings, and other events. We'll be waiting for you at 1820 East Bypass and Center, and in Cedar Bluff, 3812 Alabama Highway 9. For your convenience, you can call in your order at our Center location, 256-92 Pizza, or Cedar Bluff, 256-557-8651. The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park, and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors, and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018.